These extraordinary creatures aren't just our companions, they feel like extensions of our spirit. They stay beside us through every stage of life, offering comfort, loyalty, and a love that asks for nothing in return. But their presence carries a meaning far deeper than most of us ever realize. Before we uncover that deeper purpose, let's go back to where it all began. It's often said that dogs descended from wolves, and genetically that's true. But when we look at the incredible diversity of breeds' personalities and behaviors, we begin to wonder, is there something more? Something that goes beyond evolution? Some spiritual thinkers believe dogs were sent to us for a reason to help us understand the purest form of love. And if that sounds impossible, just wait. Because what you're about to discover might change the way you see your dog forever. Let's begin with the first truth, one that touches not just your heart, but possibly your health. Number 1. Dogs can absorb your pain and heal you without you even knowing. Have you ever wondered why your dog seems to fall ill right when you do? Or why they lie beside you for hours when you're not feeling well, almost as if they're trying to take your pain away? This isn't just coincidence. It's not just loyalty. It might be something much deeper. You see, some researchers and healers believe that dogs are energetic mirrors. They don't just feel your emotions, they absorb them. When you're anxious, they get restless. When you're grieving, they grow quiet. And when your body is sick, sometimes they get sick too. But here's the part that most people miss. Dogs don't do this by accident. They do it out of love. Imagine this. Your dog senses that something's wrong inside you, something you haven't even noticed yet. Maybe it's stress. Maybe it's something darker hiding beneath the surface. And instead of letting it grow, they pull it into themselves, quietly, without asking for anything in return. That mystery illness your dog had last month, it might have been yours. Sounds far-fetched. Well, studies on emotional transference between pets and owners are beginning to reveal just how real this connection is. And while science is just catching up, many spiritual healers have known it all along. Dogs are emotional sponges, healing agents, protectors of your energy field. But here's the twist that no one talks about. Sometimes they hold on to that pain for too long. And if we're not careful, they suffer in silence, carrying burdens that were never theirs to bear. That's why when a dog dies young, some believe it's because they've completed their mission. They took on too much too fast, and they never let go. So the next time your dog stares at you with those deep, knowing eyes, don't brush it off. They might be checking in on your soul, not just your mood. And that is only the beginning. Because the next truth will flip your perspective completely. What if the dog you have right now didn't just randomly enter your life? Number 2, you didn't choose your dog. Your dog chose you. We like to believe we're the ones making the choice, that we walk into the shelter, scroll through photos, visit breeders, and then decide which dog to bring home. But what if it wasn't your decision at all? What if the moment your dog locked eyes with you, they already knew that connection you felt? The reason you couldn't walk away from that scruffy face or those soft, pleading eyes, it wasn't logic. It wasn't impulse. It was recognition. Because dogs, some believe, carry an ancient sensitivity, a kind of soul memory. They don't just see your face. They see your need. They see the version of you you're about to become, the broken pieces you haven't admitted, the healing you're going to need months or even years from now. And in that moment, they choose you. That's why for some people the dog just shows up. On the street, at the gate, or a friend suddenly can't keep them anymore, and you're left holding the leash without ever planning to. It feels random, But it's not. They arrive when your life is about to shift. Right before the divorce, or after the death of someone you loved, or during that quiet, lonely period when everything felt heavy and no one noticed but you. And suddenly, there they are curled up beside you, like they've been waiting. Coincidence or divine timing? What if your dog's arrival wasn't a happy accident, but a response to a silent call from your soul? If that sounds too magical to be true, just wait. Because the next truth will challenge everything you thought you knew about love, loyalty, and forgiveness. You're about to discover something no human could ever teach you. Only a dog could. Number 3. Dogs don't just love, they forgive in ways. Humans can't. We talk a lot about how deeply dogs love us. But there's something even more powerful. They do something far more rare in this world. They forgive. Not just once. Not just when it's easy. But every single time. You can yell. You can forget their walk. You can come home late again and again. And yet, the moment you finally sit down, they'll come to your feet, curl up, and act like nothing ever happened. Like love just pressed the reset button. That kind of forgiveness, it doesn't come from training. It comes from something ancient, something pure, and maybe something we've lost. Because if you really think about it, how many people do you know who would still run toward you after being neglected, who would look at you with joy after you broke their trust yesterday, who would choose connection over pride? Dogs do that, over and over again. And yet here's the haunting part. When that trust is shattered beyond repair, when a dog is truly hurt, they don't retaliate. They retreat. They protect their heart quietly. And even then, if you show up again, gently, consistently, honestly, they will try. They will meet you halfway. And that is a kind of emotional courage that most humans never learn. You see, dogs don't just feel love. They become it. They carry no grudges, no hidden scorecards. Their memory of pain doesn't become bitterness. It becomes wisdom. And that wisdom makes them softer, not colder. That's why living with a dog feels like living with something holy. Not perfect, but sacred. But what if that sacred connection didn't end when they die? What if, even then, they're still by your side? Number 4. Your dog might be protecting you, even while you sleep. Just because your dog is resting doesn't mean they're off duty. In fact, some believe their most important job begins when yours ends, when the lights go out and your defenses are down. You've felt it before, haven't you? That odd comfort of your dog sleeping near your bed, the way they shift when you stir, or the sudden low growl at something unseen. What if that wasn't just instinct? Some spiritual traditions believe that dogs aren't just physical companions. They're energetic guardians. When you sleep, your body may be still, but your soul travels. You move between dimensions of thought memory and sometimes something more. And during those moments, your dog becomes a sentry, a gatekeeper. They stand watch not over your room, but over your field. There are stories too many to ignore of dogs waking their owners seconds before a seizure, a panic attack, or a nightmare that never had a name. Not trained service animals, just dogs who knew. Dogs who sensed a shift in your vibration before even you did. And sometimes when the energy in your space is too dense, too heavy, they take it on. They absorb it. That's why you might find them panting for no reason, staring at a corner with no movement, refusing to enter a room they were once comfortable in. They're not just tired, they're working. And here's the wildest part. Some people believe your dog appears in your dreams not as imagination, but as a guide, a form your soul recognizes in the in-between. So, If you've ever dreamed of your dog long after they're gone, maybe they're not gone at all. Number 5. Dogs don't just heal people. They heal entire families. If your dog can sense when you're hurting, what happens when the whole house is in pain? The truth is, dogs don't tune into just one person. They tune into the field, the emotional climate of the entire space. And when something's off, they know. You've seen it. The way your dog acts differently around certain people. How they linger near the child who's been quiet lately, or bark at the one guest who always feels off. It's not about behavior. It's about vibration. Dogs move through rooms like sponges, soaking up emotional static most humans can't detect. And here's the part no one warns you about if no one in the family knows how to release that energy. The dog holds it. It builds up inside them. That sudden illness, that weird lethargy. Sometimes it's not physical at all. It's energetic overload. That's why healers often say, if the family won't go to therapy, the dog ends up living in the tension. And they do it silently, willingly, because that's the role they took on. But there's something else, something you might have missed. Some dogs don't just mirror emotion, they shift it. Just being near them lifts the atmosphere, calms the chaos, makes the air feel lighter. That's not magic. That's frequency. And when a dog like that enters a home, everything starts to change. People soften. Arguments slow down. Healing begins. Not because the dog said anything, but because they showed up. So here's the question. What if the peace in your home is actually being held together by 4 quiet paws? Number 6. Dogs are not just evolved. They're spiritually designed. If a dog can absorb your pain, protect you while you sleep, and shift the emotional weight of an entire family, then you have to ask the obvious question. Where does that power come from? Biology alone can't explain it. Yes, dogs evolved from wolves. Yes, their DNA carries traces of wild instincts. But wolves don't comfort the grieving. They don't take on cancerous energy. They don't wait for your soul to break before curling up beside your feet. That's not instinct. That's design. Some believe dogs are more than just animals. They are spiritually engineered beings created with a unique frequency that allows them to operate between worlds. Not fully wild, not fully domestic, not fully animal, and not fully human either. That's why in ancient texts and indigenous cultures, dogs were never just pets. They were watchers, guides, guardians of thresholds both physical and metaphysical, the in-between. And here's the part most people miss. Their bodies may have evolved on Earth, but their energy may not be from here at all. If you've ever looked into your dog's eyes and felt something ancient looking back, something older than language, older than logic, you're not imagining it. That feeling you get like they already know you, it's not just emotional bonding, it's recognition. So maybe, just maybe, we didn't domesticate dogs. Maybe they allowed themselves to walk beside us, not to serve us, but to awaken something we forgot how to feel. And once you see them that way, there's no going back. Because next, we'll look at something that proves this bond isn't just emotional. It's eternal. Number 7. Dogs were sacred in ancient civilizations and still are. If dogs were spiritually designed like we just explored, then the ancient world must have known something we've long forgotten. And they did. In ancient Egypt, dogs weren't just household companions. They were symbols of protection, messengers between realms. The god Anubis' guide of souls to the afterlife was depicted with the head of a dog or jackal. He wasn't feared, he was trusted. Because the Egyptians believed dogs could sense what we couldn't. Not just danger, but spiritual imbalance. In Mesopotamia, people built temples not just for gods, But for dogs, sick villagers would sit in silence beside sacred canines, believing their presence alone could heal what medicine could not. And often it did. In ancient India, dogs walked alongside gods like Bhairava, the fierce form of Shiva. They weren't treated as animals. They were extensions of divinity, guardians of crossroads, both literal and spiritual. Some scriptures even describe dogs leading the righteous into heaven, and yet today we act surprised when our dogs do something human, when they mourn, protect, or refuse to leave our side. But maybe that's not human behavior. Maybe it's just ancient behavior, sacred behavior. We didn't invent the love between dogs and humans. We're simply continuing something that's been written across time in myths, in temples, in tombs, and now in living rooms. So the next time your dog looks at you, don't ask what they want. Ask what they already know. Because the bond you feel, it didn't begin with you. It's been waiting lifetimes to find its way back. So maybe your dog isn't just your pet. Maybe they're your witness, your protector, your silent healer. Maybe they came into your life not by chance, but because something somewhere knew you'd need them. And maybe, just maybe, they've always been with you in one form or another, waiting for the right moment to walk beside you again. If that idea stirs something inside you, if it reminds you of a look your dog once gave you, or still does, then hold on to it. Because that feeling, that's the truth they've been trying to tell you all along. If this touched your heart in any way, take a moment to share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear about the bond you share with your dog. And if you'd like to keep exploring this beautiful connection between humans and the animals that love us more deeply than we know, subscribe to the channel. Because there are still so many truths left to uncover, and your dog might be the key to all of them.